So Toll to the inside, Gula to the outside. Gula out of Dennisport, Davina out of Buzzards Bay. They're off down into turn number 1, and Davina Toll with a quick advantage, racing down the back. Here comes Gula though, closing that gap on that outside lane. Down through 3 and 4, Gula with a huge run here, off turn number 4. Can Toll hold him off? Next up, Joe DeFarius in his 97 Mitsubishi 3000 GT, and Andrew Joseph in his 75 Vega. They're off down into turn number 1. It's DeFarius out to the early lead, the Medford native. Down the back, opens up that lead into 3 and 4, and Joe DeFarius out of turn number 4 will take home the win and move on to the next round. Spectator drags, they are off, and it's Aubin with a great start. Gets down in front of Audette, takes the lead down through 1 and 2. Audette off the corner, closes just a bit, coming into 3, drives in hard into the corner, drifts up high, and maybe just a little too high as they come off of turn number 4, and Steve Aubin moves on. They are off, green flag in the air. They race down into turn number 1. It's Johnson to the early lead, exiting turn number 2. Puts the throttle down, opens up that gap into turn 3. Rolling through the corner and out of turn number 4, it's going to be Brad Johnson coming home with the win. Up, waiting for the light, they get it. They are off, pretty even start, but Gingras gets the advantage through the corner. Farnham sticking with them though on that bottom line. Farnham loose off turn number 2 though, able to save it, keeps it within striking distance, powers through the corner, drifts it out of 4. It's not going to be enough though. Rob Gingras made it. Fierro to the outside, they are off. Even start there. Stevenson with a great run on the inside lane. Come off at turn number 2. Dias loses a bit of ground. Hits the throttle hard though, coming into 3. He's going to drift it up high. Can he hold on? He does, but it's not enough. Mackenzie Stevenson. Johnson to the outside. Oliveira to the inside. They're off, and Johnson with a great start down into 1. Easy through the corner. Throttle off at turn number 2. He opens up a big gap here. He's going to take it easy into 3. Oliveira really closes that gap. He's going to have to drive hard off 4. But Johnson confident he had it in the bag. He takes home the outside. They are off. Green lights on. And Wettinger, the advantage down through 1 and 2. About 2 car lengths over Buchanan. Buchanan quickly closes that gap down the back. Pulls up to the door. Even now as they come off the corner. Franz runs them up high and comes home with the checker. And X there at the line. They're off, pretty even start. Toll down on the inside of Cartier. Roll through 1 and 2. Toll. Throttle down the back, opens up a nice lead, but here comes Toll off turn number 4. He's able to hold off Cartier. They're at the line ready to go. Both off, pretty even start. Klein though pushes hard out of turn number 2. He's got the lead, and Kazunas gets a little loose there. Powers it into turn 3 though. Catches up a bit, loose again off the corner, and here comes Kenny Klein across the line. Camaro out of Rehoboth. They are off, even on the start down into 1, Fielding with the slight advantage. He's able to clear Winchenbach as they race down the back. Into turn 3, Winchenbach closes that gap, but they're both stuck to the bottom. Not enough room to make the pass, and it's the Troy City Tactical Spectator drags. They get the green light, and he is off and running down into 1 and 2. Big time lead coming off 2, and Johnson going to coast his way through 3 and 4 and knock out Gula and come home with the win. Waiting on the light, they get it. Pretty even start, but then DeFarius powers through into 1 to take the lead. Aubin sticking with a decent distance back. He's going to run it hard into turn number 3. DeFarius sticks to the bottom. Here comes Aubin on that outside lane. Trying to make a stick. He does, but it's not enough. Go Johnson to the inside. They get the light. They are off. It's Brad Johnson with the early lead. Rob Gingras gets down to the bottom here, exiting turn number 2. Looks to reel in Johnson as they race into 3. He does. Johnson able to stick to the bottom though, and that'll be all he needs coming off of turn number 4. Brad Johnson moves on.
Mark, what are you going to do? Eat the bird?
The bird's flying. We were worried if the bird actually got hit. They get the light. They're off. Even start down through the corner. Johnson with a slight advantage, but Stevenson has some speed in that Camaro as well. A little squirrely off turn number 2, and that might do it. Johnson rolls through 3 and 4. Stevenson closes the gap, but it's not going to be enough. Richard Johnson takes from Wettinger. David Toll at the line, and they are off into turn number 1. It's Wettinger with the early advantage. It's Toll sticking close on that outside lane, pulls up even as they head down the back and into turn number 3. Wettinger runs low. Toll looks for the crossover, gets a little too loose though, goes through the grass. Ready to go. They both go at the drop. Klein with the early lead, the whole shot into 1. Fielding though, closing quickly, coming out of turn number 2, within a car length, Klein. The gray run into the corner. Fielding closes right on his rear bumper. Can he get under him? He does, but not into the outside. Johnson to the inside. They are off. Down into turn number 1. John Johnson with the early advantage, but Joe DeFarius looks to go low out of turn number 2. A crossover down the back. Johnson, though, powers it hard into 3. He gets loose, though. Able to drift it out of the corner. DeFarius gets close. Waiting on the light. They get it. Brad with the early advantage down into 1. Richard right on his rear bumper, though, very close. Down to the inside, they come down the back. Richard gets his way down there. They're side by side at the corner. Richard gets loose, though. It's Brad Johnson coming off the corner. What a move by Richard. They get the light. They are off. Kenny Klein out front. Down into 1. Franz doing what he can to catch up to Kenny as they race down the back. Klein gets a little loose into 3, though. He straightens it out quickly. Down through the corner, sticks to the bottom, and that'll do it. Kenny Klein moves on. John to the outside. They are off, but it's Brad with the early advantage down into 1. He's got the nose ahead of John, but here comes John down the back trying to pull it even. He gets a little loose out of 2. Hits the throttle down into 3. He's sideways through the corner and a little too sideways. He goes around. Brad Johnson. They get the light. They are off down into 1. It is Johnson with the early advantage in front of Franz Wettinger. Can Wettinger catch up down into 3? He closes the gap. Johnson drifts up a little, but so does Wettinger. They both go high. Off the corner they come. Checkered flag for John Speed, and they're finally up against one another. Green lights on. They are off down into turn number 1. Even so far. Klein with the advantage down the back. Johnson trying to hang on the outside. He pulls him in, reels him in closer. Coming off turn number 4 to the white flag. It's Klein in the lead, sticking to the bottom. Johnson does everything he can to power off the corner to close that gap, but Klein a little too much speed down the back into 3. Johnson, one last ditch effort, drifting it out of 4. Not in time. Checkered flag in the air for Ken.
Out there, you come home 3rd. How was it tonight? It was a lot of fun, a little slippery, but yeah, it was a good time. Car was running good. Glad to see Brad's out here having a good time. I guess we just can't keep up with the almighty Kenny, I guess. So, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, but yeah, we'll keep on coming back and racing for 2nd. So, we'll see you guys next week. Well, you were fast all night, and you stuck with Kenny for a while, but in the end, he just gets you. How was the race?
Yeah, just didn't have enough. I kept up with one of the best I have as of yet off the line, but car just started breaking loose. I didn't have anything for him.
Anyone want to thank for the performance you put on today?
I got to thank my wife, Katie, of course, always, and family, friends. You know, I appreciate all the support.
Well, week in and week out, when you show up, you're fast. These guys gave you a heck of a run tonight, though, but you still come home victorious. How's that feel?
They were all tough races. These guys are getting faster. I'm trying. When I was here the last race, they were right on my butt, and so I was like, oh, I got to turn my car up for this race, and I turned it up here, and they're still right there, man. These guys are getting fast.
You want to thank you for putting this thing in victory lane?
Man, just everybody that Troy City Tactical for sponsoring, just all friends, family that support this habit. just everybody that watches, man. Everything. It's a lifestyle. It's tough, but thank you.